even when I'm about to make a score, just harboring a little bit of resentment towards the busting up of the PGA Tour, where they're scrambling trying to find some identifiable commodity, one of whom would be Rory McIlroy. If they could get McIlroy, they get to a kind of, semi-Tiger Woods kind of stature in terms of winning, it would certainly be a pleasant transformation for them than trying to sell Scotty Scheffler, who the only time he got anybody excited is when he got arrested. He was dragging that cop around like he was Randy Moss, which was a bullshit thing. I mean, when you really look at it, how does it? I understand that not everybody would recognize Scotty Scheffler, but you're a cop who's assigned to kind of monitor the traffic at the gate going into the golf course, and you're going to go ahead and give this guy a hard time and take him away in handcuffs? Get the fuck out of here. He's leading the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
He's 2 feet from the gate. You couldn't just wave him in?
The whole thing was
He's hanging onto the car door like he's surfing. That was ridiculous.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
The voice of Mr. Optimism, Mike Lubie Lubitz speaking here.
I mean, I tried to be.
Could this be it? I mean, we're going to forever live in infamy, going all the way back, tracing back to the 1942 Stanley Cup Finals, 3-0, Detroit in front, Toronto Maple Leafs bounce back. The only time it's happened in the Stanley Cup Finals. 10 times we've seen series where teams have led 3-0 and a Game 7 was forced. 4 times the team that was down 3-0 have prevailed, including that 1942 Cup Finals. But if it happens tonight, Louie, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a rough year. You would have to think that we're going to get hit with like 20 hurricanes. Insurance rates are going to become so prohibitive that nobody's going to be able to live in South Florida. It's going to be a ghost town. If the Panthers lose tonight, that's a bad omen for sure. Up 3-0 in the series. Game 5, Game 6, I don't know. Game 4, that's 3 strikes already. So where do we stand with this thing? We didn't even foul off the last one. Down 3-1 late in the game. The under players are getting ready to collect there at the Hard Rock Hotel. I happen to be there on Friday night. Under players are jumping up and down. Under. Next thing you know, not 1, but 2 empty net goals in the span of about 30 seconds. And the next thing you know, the over players have been revived as if they've been resuscitated by some kind of CPR. And they go to the window in cash. But meanwhile, the Panthers in dire straits. Lubie gives them no chance of winning tonight. Now, I've got a couple of things here. Go ahead, Lubie. Ask Roberto Luongo what he thinks is going to happen in tonight's game. Roberto, are the Panthers alive in tonight's game? He's saying yes, Lubie.
Yeah.
An emphatic yes.
That's good.
That's Luongo.
I'm glad I'm
You know what I'm worried about when I shake these bobbleheads? They would be like those all Mr. Met bobbleheads that I used to sell for $1.50 at Shea back in the 60s. 64 through 69, I'm working there. We sold the bobbleheads. And rarely could you open the box before the person who purchased the bobblehead. They never used to look at them, and that was good because everyone was fucking broken, right? Spring would go flying off. I mean, the head would go, it was always cracked. They definitely did better on making bobbleheads. What about Pavel Bure, Lubie? What do you think? Pavel, can the Panthers come back tonight? He says yes.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, they're at home, and it's a 1-game sudden death. Yes, obviously. Will they now? I mean, if you've watched, that's the thing is like the way you play a game matters. Like losing close, losing tight, and losing in a blowout are 2 very different things. After losing 2 in a row, go to Game 6 and play like that. Nah, like the fact that again, it's not even that the Oilers are getting.
That was a flat, listless effort.
Game 6. It's not that the Oilers are scoring the dumbass goals. I missed the stupid ass goal off a stick when everyone's looking one way. No, the Oilers are scoring like you do in street hockey when you're a 15-year-old playing a 9-year-old. Like,
yeah, may as well be on roller skates out there on Pembroke Road.
Yeah, it's rare you see pretty goals in a fucking Stanley Cup. It's usually hard-fought, stupid-ass goals. Like the fact that they're working it up the ice and getting 2-on-1s and 1-on-nones, and they're going in every time. Like, even the worst goalie stops 1 or 2. The fact that if there's any out rush, it's going to be a goal. Like, that's everyone's fault.
Has to be driving Paul Maurice crazy, no?
It's just, look, the defense is not playing well, but also Bobrovsky isn't either. Like, both are true. And then the offense, It's just a disaster. The offense is doing. You have 5 goals over there. And Skinner, he's a fine goalie, and he had turned up the heat. He's not any of the goalies you faced. Any of them. He's not. I don't care. The biggest Oiler fan in the world couldn't tell you that guy's fucking Vasilevsky, or he's Swayman, or he's Shesterkin. He's not any of those 3 guys. You wouldn't have put up these performances against any of those 3 guys. The fact that every phase is falling apart at the same time. Hey, look, there's a reason Paul Maurice was questioned when he was hired as the fucking coach. Like, there's a reason that the guy had gotten there but never won. Like, that's literally what we're seeing on display. Is he got him close?
Is it him though? I mean, what the heck? You can always look at coaching when you're losing and say, well, geez, the guy's got to make some adjustments. I think he has, right? Because I was speaking with somebody Saturday at the track. You'll find it surprising. I was out at a pari-mutuel facility, and big sports fans out there. A lot of people have betting action on this thing, and they certainly have opinions. And this guy was all over Montour, who I thought was a pretty valuable asset for the Panthers the last couple of years. Montour.
Yeah,
good. I mean, certainly this year he had a good season. He was big on their power play, which has gone totally cold, been snuffed out. Did they get? They didn't get any power play goals in this last game. What are they, like, over the last 20?
The whole play. They have won the whole series.
Yeah.
They've literally given up more shorthanded.
More shorthanded, yeah.
Than power play goals. Literally every phase, offense, defense, goaltending, special teams, is all falling apart. Like, the Oilers are good. They're not this good. There was a reason that fans.
It's a complete reversal of form. It really is.
Yeah, and that's, to me, on the coach. The only person I can blame is the coach. I don't blame Zito. The roster is great. I blame the players because obviously they're grown-ass men.
Something happened over here.
The lack of effort is astounding, but that's what a coach does. A coach is supposed to get in your fuck. That's what Knobloch did. They were down 0-3, and Knobloch changed shit, and they played better. Like, where the fuck is Maurice? He waited till game 6 to change stuff. The stuff he changed nothing. Like, at some point, and I like the guy, and he's done a good job, and I don't see him going anywhere. But there's a reason he's never won a cup. Like, we're seeing it in front of our fucking eyes. Like, you're up 3-0 and everything falls apart and you have no answer. You have no answer.
You're down on the French Joe Philbin. You got him back to the French Joe Philbin now. He was a guy who was brilliant. I mean, and we were loving him, especially. Well, I mean, when you're up 3-0, you're loving virtually everything. Did they do it? Did they bring him out tonight? And this is still one of my big complaints about the life I've lived, is that somebody handed me a Dan Marino bobblehead at a Dolphin game. It may have even come to the station. This could have been one of those freebie gifts that you get to, entice the host to talk about the big bobblehead giveaway. How did they make Marino a black guy, Lubie? What do you think? Does he beat the drum tonight? Is that no? You have to pull out either Pat Riley
or Spo. Those are the only 2 people. There's no one else you can do that. The only way anyone takes you.
No Marino.
No,
you're not buying into that weak Mayo theory that Marino's a loser, are you? I mean, come on.
At this point, no one gives a shit about Marino. I love Marino. I think he's a top 3 to 5 quarterback talent-wise ever. I think he got short.
No one gives a shit about Marino? You're going to contend here?
In the hockey world in 2024, Dan Marino means nothing. Now, Pat Riley means something.
Oh, my God. I'm up to South Florida, my friend.
Eric Spoelstra. No. You bring out either Eric Spoelstra or that's it. The 2 winningest coaches, 2 winningest front office people in South Florida history. That's it. No one else has won 3 titles. Both of them have won 3 or more titles. Those are the only 2 people you bring. If you want to do anything to wake up.
How about Miguel Rojas? You bring him back from the Dodgers? Miggy? He was my favorite. He was Mr. Marlin there. Jeff Conine?
There's plenty of guys. You bring out Riley or Spo. That's it.
What's funny is this is the only way we have any shot
to
win this game. That's the sad part, is by the right choice of drum beaters. And after that, I hate to say it because I'm a huge Big Jack fan. As I've said many times, originally it was all Arnie and we hated Big Jack. And then you came to love the guy. And he turned out to be such a decent human being in so many different ways that you couldn't help it. A great ambassador for the game of golf royalty. They bring him out there to beat the drum. And as we've been saying, hardly Ginger Baker. You're not thinking that this guy ever sat behind a set there and did anything of any significance, because he could barely even touch the thing. Not an overwhelmingly significant factor. What do you see, though, Lubie? You literally see Bobrovsky's falling apart. You think that he's just like a flopping flounder that you just brought into the boat?
He's average. I think he is what I always thought he was, and he was on a really good run.
Only Barkov really, as they say, showed up for game number 6.
Only one.
Among the Panther players, and everybody else. So it was really kind of just futilely, just out there skating around in circles, trying to figure out how to stop these guys. They were only down 3-1 with 3 minutes to go. Looked like they were destined to lose the game. I actually thought before the game, since I was at the Hard Rock prior to the game starting, that I would bet the exact score of 3-2. So if you were watching that, you're thinking, all right, good. They get the sixth man on the ice. They'll probably get a goal somehow, scramble and find one with 4 seconds to go. It'll be too little too late. Lose the game 3-2. And I'm collecting. It's almost like betting a hopping point in craps. I know you don't shoot a lot of craps, Louis, but every now and then you get carried away with what you think is your clairvoyance at predicting numbers. And you start betting, and I think it's 30-1. You start betting the exact number that's going to come out. So you're not betting on the 6. You're betting on a 4 and a 2 to comprise a 6. It's a one-roll proposition. And I thought maybe that was going to be something that paid dividends. But unfortunately, two empty netters, not one, but 2, ruined the underplayers in that game, of which I ran into your buddy Andy Slater there. And, he was pounding the under at the Hard Rock on Friday night. Andy Slater, Andy See You Later Slater, who doesn't, I mean, he doesn't change demeanor or appearance at any time, right? Looks the same, sounds the same. But I think he had a big wad full of cash on the under in that game, which would have been a disaster. That would be a tough one to recover from. But, I mean, it's hockey. Anything can happen tonight. As badly as the Panthers have performed in the last 3 games, they can't all of a sudden have a light switch go on and do their thing on a home ice tonight in front of the screaming and adoring home fans who are paying thousands of dollars to attend this game. The sounds of silence, though, will definitely click. If the Edmonton Oilers get up 2-0, my God, you would think that the earth had come to an end, I would imagine, around the Sunrise Merritt Bank Arena, because that would be definitely a blow. That I don't know. I mean, do you ever overcome something like that? You become Ryan Leaf when people talk about the draft. You become a punchline for every joke about the Stanley Cup or championships or a playoff series of any kind if you end up losing this 3-0 lead and losing the series outright. So you're on the Edmonton bandwagon now. You're like David Portnoy, right?
Yeah, bandwagon. It's actually not about the Oilers, and their fans are gonna crow and this and that. They haven't, to me, whatever they've done different isn't the thing. It's the Panthers' lack of heart. And it feels like such a stupid thing to say because it's intangible, but it's so present that it feels tangible. Like watching the way they play now as opposed to the way they were playing. And yes, I'm biased. I'm a Panther fan, but come on, they were up 3-0. They were fucking dominating. To be down
well, and then cumulatively be down 18-5 in goals.
Come on, like the Oilers aren't that fucking good.
18-5 last 3 games. My God,
it's just a joke. It's to see them fall apart this great. It's hard. That's why I'm turning to Maurice, because to me, that's what else does the coach do? Maurice has said it when they got here. It was all on them. Okay, the coach's job is to plug the fucking dam when it's about to explode. That's what the coach does. He doesn't do anything else. The players play. The players.
What can he do about Bobrovsky suddenly going from being the Conn Smythe winner to being a joke? All of a sudden, the guy literally is. He's like a human sieve at this point. I'm with you on that. It's strange. It's inexplicable. As I was saying on our earlier show, which somehow got botched up due to computer technology problems, the morning briefing on Caffeine TV. I ran into a very, very prominent member, a good friend of the program, at a casino on Saturday. I asked this gentleman, I said, what do you think? I mean, it's hockey. Anything can happen. And he basically had the same point of view that you did, Louie.
They would have done it already.
Something dire had happened to the Florida Panthers' spirit and momentum. And he would not be at all surprised. He would be more surprised if the Panthers won than if they ended up just, going into this infamous position of being the last team to, or the next team to do it after. You forget about 1942 when somebody does it in 2024. That's for sure.
No, they won't matter.
This will be remembered forever, no?
Yes. Look, it's when people say the worst ever, I don't know. You've had collapses and whatever, fine. It's the worst in hockey, and it's among the worst in sports. And it's annoying because literally a week ago, we were talking about possible dynasty, right? Because they were up 3-0 over a good Oilers team.
And now you want to fire everybody from.
They have they're a young core, they're a young group, they're hungry, and to me now you have to question everything. I'm not saying they're going to fire anyone.
I don't know that you have to question everything, though. I mean, you're looking at you made this statement. Actually, you might have had a little bit of clairvoyance here, Louie. I have to give you credit because and you were being just absolutely harpooned by your good friend Mike Mayo, who brought up the text that you sent him like 2 months ago that the
Yeah, it
Panthers
was
will never
nothing
win a
right
Stanley
after
Cup championship with Bobrovsky in the pipes.
Yep.
Then Bobrovsky looks like he's the second coming of
It's crazy.
Rogation Vachon,
Yep.
or any great goalie that ever played the game. And they're up 3-0 and they're coasting. The whole idea, I mean, we talk about this a lot. The notion that you would tank a game deliberately so you could win at home
It's
is absolutely absurd. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime because you can't get cute in this spot. And everybody knows that the toughest game to win is the closeout game.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
ask any tennis player that's been serving for the match where you're number 150 in the world, and this is going to be a huge stepping stone for you. And you're going against Steffi Graf or any of the great players, the top players. And routinely you will see, well, she's up 5-4. She just has to go ahead and close this up and serving great. All of a sudden, double false the first 2 points. Not that you're choking necessarily, but it's very difficult to put the champions away. It always is. So I can't imagine for a second that the Panthers said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and gag this game and we'll come back home and win it. Because now they had this stunning circumstance of having to schlep back to Edmonton. And I've been wrong about every game, I think, so far in the series. I want to say that we're matching our basketball level of expertise in making predictions here because I thought somehow the Panthers would bounce back. If you were going to bounce back, would it not have been in Game 6, Louis?
Yeah, yeah.
So all signs, though, are pointing towards the Panthers losing tonight, which is why I believe that they have an excellent chance.
Well, they look again. The Oilers just came back from 0-3. If they can do, and that is the impossible, right? It was over. It was over. Okay,
They were getting smoked in the first 3 games.
yes.
Smoked.
So if they can do that, why can't the Panthers win one game? Yes, they do. They have, of course, they have a chance. I'm going to watch the game. It's just,
Well, why wouldn't you watch the game? I mean,
well, no, because
unless you're
maybe-
resigned to them losing and you're
Yes.
just going to be so
I'm
disgusted.
resigned that they're going to lose. Actually,
Oh, you are. You're
Yeah,
resigned to
yeah,
a lot. Well, this encourages me even more that you're
like
resigned
them
to them
winning
losing.
would surprise me more than them lose. Like I expect.
I'm thinking it's 50-50. I really am.
I expect them to lose at this point, but it is hockey. And maybe they get the first goal has been big. Maybe they can get a first fucking goal. Maybe
They're due to have something good happen, aren't they?
They didn't give up a shorthanded goal. They were much better defensively on the power play. They didn't let them do anything on the power play, which was the only.
They weren't in this game at all.
They were never there.
Yeah, the fact they got possibly to a 2-1 situation was surprising because they looked like they were totally lacking in effort.
Never in this game. And that funny thing is, for people like me who thought that was one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
I didn't believe that to be true. I thought they actually made the right call. I'll agree with you with this, and it was mentioned during the broadcast that instant replay was instituted so that outrageously bad calls
that was close.
Could be overturned. All right.
close.
And even close calls, look, you can't blame a referee if they miss that one. That's for sure. And if you were going to go ahead and have an instant replay on something like that, your inclination would be to let the call on the ice stand because it was so, minuscule, fractional difference. I mean, the puck, you can barely tell whether it's still on the blue
They
line.
said it was centimeters. Look,
Yeah.
Either way, could have been right. Fine. You go with the way that you had it. And it's the Stanley Cup Finals. They're way
Although Barkov was standing in front of the goal by the time
they're way too involved in this series. But the thing that shuts people like me up is, okay, let's say you get that goal 2-1. They scored like minutes later on the stupidest fucking goal again.
Yes.
Like on a 1-on-none where Bobrovsky, like, why is this his move where he leaves the goal and he goes to the ground? It's funny. The first 2 games when he was stopping everything, in my head, I didn't say it out loud. I was like, hey, stopping everything low. I'm like, I hope they don't fucking realize the whole fucking top of the net's wide open. What have they done the last 2 games?
Did they extend the net for the Oilers and make it a little higher?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because Jesus, Bobrovsky, anything above his waist is going in. Yeah.
And he goes down. It's like, dude, why are you going down? Why are you giving? Like, they're just waiting for him to go down and then chipping it into the top of the net.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, don't. I understand odd man rushes.
Did you hear? Did you hear him yelling, "Your mother"? Oh, when they were coming in on those odd man breaks.
That's all he does.
Your mother. Wow, what the fuck? Did that ever work on you, Lubie? When the guy, your underwear, and then he drives by you like you were Luka Doncic, standing there trying to defend. I just think the arbitrary nature of hockey is something to take into consideration here. You are at home. The Oilers have had an arduous road to come back and win these 3 games. You were being dominated if you were the Oilers the first 3 games. Certainly, you would have to be inspired with a huge dose of confidence that you could come on the road and just keep this momentum going. But we've seen more bizarre things. And when the universe is on one side of the equation, Louie, which it seems to be here, then is that not the time to go and step out there and say, you know what? It ain't over until we say it is.
Yeah,
And,
look, that's the
and
thing.
if they win this tonight, think about it. All is forgotten.
Yes,
Nobody will remember this shit.
No, if they win tonight, it all goes away. It's a classic game, a 7-game series, and they win their first cup, and that's what they. But that's my thing. That's what they had there in Game 6. My problem is they've showed no life. It's not that we're at a Game 7, because going into the series, I thought Panthers in 6. So going 7 games isn't that big of a fucking difference.
Yeah, that whole forecheck thing went out the window.
Yeah,
Nobody's talking about that. Yeah.
The way that they've played every phase, it's not just Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky hasn't been horrible. He just hasn't been good. And again, to win a Stanley Cup, your goalie is the biggest part of all of it.
He needs to do a couple of exceptional things, no doubt.
Skinner's playing great.
Yes.
It's not like their offense is not doing what it usually does, but they've gotten opportunities. They've gotten decent opportunities. They're not even close to scoring. That's their goalie. No. Like, your goalie has to be the last line of defense, and he's not. But it's all of them. The defense is not bringing the action that he used to. The offense is only bringing action in spurts. Like, I don't know what to do. And then Maurice just stands there. And again, he's fine.
Oh, he definitely expressed himself after that goal was taken away.
Yeah, okay.
But I would have loved to have heard that conversation there with the officials that he was having as he was screaming over the top of his players and completely red-faced. Which I don't blame him, but at the same time, the more I looked at that replay, the more I thought that the goal was going to be taken away. That if you were examining this just strictly on the rules and not like any kind of, well, geez, they should give it to him because that was the call. And you know, we talked about this earlier on our other show, Louis, the morning briefing, that the in-game official for the telecast, why is it? I mean, holy Gene Steratore. Why is it a guy that has no commitment whatsoever? I mean, why are these guys afraid to say, "Hey, wait a minute, man, that has to be overturned"? When you're looking at it, you know, anybody could see the puck still. I mean, by whatever minute portion of the puck was still on the blue line, it was there, and it's Barkov, right? It was clearly in the zone at that point. I mean, his skate was no longer in contact with the blue line. The puck was still there. And it would have been extremely difficult to see. But what was interesting, Lubie, 85% of the time that call has been challenged, the offsides on a made goal, 85% of the time the play has been overturned and the challenge was successful. And there was another example of it. But, wow, I mean, it was just a listless, kind of lifeless effort where the Panthers seemed to be wandering around aimlessly on the ice by comparison to Edmonton, who are making all of these precision passes and to wide open guys on many occasions. And as you said, Bobrovsky wasn't up to the task to carry them, even though he had been doing that through most of the Stanley Cup postseason. So,
well, it's just the fact that there's nothing. The fact that there's nothing happening on these attempts. Like, that was what was great about them. No matter what McDavid was doing, they were hitting him in the fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Whenever they were trying to make a pass to one another, there was always a dude trying to stop it. There was always someone there to hit them. Like, the fact that the first goal, the dude fell down. Okay, but then the fact that he's just standing there, no one picks him up. All right. The second goal, the fact that you throw it around. Again, I haven't seen anything like this in hockey. And it feels like Little League ice hockey, where you throw it around the other team's goal. It goes all the way around. Everyone watches. It goes out to your dude on the other end of the ice. No one's near him. Okay, that's already hard to fathom. But at least someone will pick him up, right? No one goes near him. Then there's another guy streaking down the ice. No one near him. Like, this is Stanley Cup Finals. Like, how are guys just going free? And they haven't done that the entire playoffs. And then the third goal was, you're actually bringing an action for once. It squirts out. No one goes after him. They all watch him. And Bobrovsky goes down to the ice again. And it's like, here, easy goal. It's like the way the goals are giving up now are goals they haven't given up the whole playoffs. The Oilers are a great scoring team. That's fine. Game 7 isn't the issue. It's how they're scoring. It's like stuff you don't see in a Stanley Cup final. Like, it's usually stupid ass goals that you don't understand how they score. Not perfectly placed passes and easily scored goals.
I don't know what the stats would say on this. I mean, I didn't look at it, but did it seem like all of this hitting, the aggressive hitting the Panthers were doing, is dissipated almost completely?
Gone.
I saw none of that in the game 6. That's for sure. I mean, they kind of were just allowing the Edmonton to toy with them a little bit, and it could have been any final outcome. Although you're not hopelessly out of the game. That goal, I don't know that you can say that was insignificant, because there was a big difference between what would have been 2-1 and then all of a sudden, like moments later, 3-0. But overall, I mean, if you were scoring it as a fight, you would have to say that Edmonton clearly was better all throughout the game, and that huge aggression that we saw from the Panthers, that was so stifling in all the other series, and the first 3 games of this one just disappeared. That would be the question for Paul Maurice. Like what the fuck happened, man? You guys, I mean, even if you were giving up goals on
it happens.
Odd man rushes, you stayed aggressive throughout, and I didn't see that in Game 6. It really that was a stunningly bad effort. I've said this a few times. I was working a telecast, and I saw the worst defense ever of a heavyweight championship by Shannon the Cannon Briggs in Atlantic City, and he was fighting this Russian guy. That the Seminole Warrior boxing group had somehow catapulted. A guy that was a little more, in my estimation, than a good club fighter. And he ends up winning the heavyweight championship because Shannon Briggs didn't throw a single punch in the fight. If they had punch stat, he would have had big, fat, round numbers all the way across the board, 0, 0, 0. And you thought, wow, what a disgrace. How could you be a heavyweight champion and not put more pride into your defense of this? And it's kind of the way the Panthers went in game number 6. I mean, just absolutely useless effort in game 6. It seemed like they were resigned to. Has anybody theorized that they wanted to deliberately lose that game so they could clinch it on the home ice? Because that would be a flawed theory for sure. No doubt about it.
I don't know. Again, we've had some comments from people that are clearly Canadian.
I like Pat's comment that he paid $17 for a Defend the House Panthers T-shirt.
Yeah, good luck.
Which he's going to have an unceremonious burning of.
Burn the shit.
Right? I mean, that shirt's as useless as those 3 for $10 shirts you used to buy on the beach in the Bahamas. I don't know if you ever experienced that, Lubie.
No, I've never.
Where the minute you put one in the washing machine, that was it. It was like a spool of thread after that.
I don't buy clothes in other countries.
3 for $10, Lubie. With a bunch of big yaman on the front. Come on, you didn't ever fall for that? Did you ever have your hair braided when you were over there?
No, none of that. No.
I mean,
look, someone commented on our YouTube. Some Canadian or Oiler fan or both. Was you and Mary? This was after I think like the 8-1 game.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it again, so I couldn't write back. But like Americans don't know what you're talking about. Look, I'm not saying I'm the hockey aficionado.
No, you've been good on this, Lubie. I mean, you're a little extreme, but you picked up on all of the things. It's not hard to really understand.
I've off and on watched hockey my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
Back to the late 80s. I remember the great Penguins teams. I remember watching the Rangers win that cup versus the Canucks and Bure. I've always had a passing interest. I just don't. It's hard to watch it.
You're probably not watching 82 regular season games in their entirety. Sure.
No. When the Panthers sucked, it's hard to watch it thoroughly. It just sort of defeats you. It's not football or basketball for me, where I grew up on it. So I need a little added whatever. But you did grow up on it. You watched it your whole life.
It's been thoroughly enjoyable all the way through. I mean, as it is every year, the Stanley Cup playoffs always deliver. It's much like they say about the NCAA basketball tournament. And even though it sounds corny to use a cliche like that, and you almost want to kill yourself if you say something like that on the air. Hey, you know what? The tournament always delivers. And then you realize it's true. The Stanley Cup playoffs certainly have delivered the share of drama and entertainment and excitement. And the people that are watching have picked up on all of this stuff, right? I mean, you're using analysis elements that it seems very logical now. But if you had said this before the playoffs, you would have thought, my God, what the fuck is this kid talking about?
Yeah.
But it's not that hard to see what the hell's going on out there. But I'm amazed. I was really amazed at the passive approach of the Panthers in game number 6.
I really thought they'd just bring it. I thought they would beat the shit out of them, and if they lost, they lost. Like,
yeah. If you're going to lose, I mean, have a couple of the Oilers show up with black eyes. For
Look at the Stanley Cup Finals. Nothing's guaranteed. That's again why. And I meant to ask Dave Hyde to come on. When I read parts of his article after they were up 3-0, I was like, look, I get it. This sounds biased the other way, and it's like.
He thought it wasn't over until we say it.
No, he thought it was over. He said,
okay.
Literally, remember I've told you, he said literally, whether it's 4 or 5, no worry, South Florida fans.
Wow.
And I was like,
So it was Dave Hyde to put the curse on
I
him.
don't know if he jinxed. I don't know. Look, that's fine. That's how you should have felt. Even I sort of felt that way, and I'm the most neurotic fan ever. But it still isn't over. So if they had lost after wars, fine. They have the best player. They have talent. This guy Knobloch, clearly they're a different team since he took over. So that's fine. It's what
Does he do anything? He looks like he's a fan.
I don't
just
know.
in
They're
attendance.
playing better.
I don't even think he says anything during the game.
I have
At least
no idea.
Maurice is animated. Like I've never seen a guy so pissed as when that goal was disallowed. But Knobloch, I mean, you wouldn't know he was part of the team, would you?
I don't know. He made changes from game 3 to game 4, supposedly, and they've been a very different team. Our coach made changes in game 6. They were not a different team.
Yeah.
So that's my only. Look, again, the reason I feel like this is just about how bad they've looked. Look, when he gave up the 3 games last year, I was defeated because they really should have won game 6. That fucking tip from Derek White was the stupidest thing ever. But I didn't feel like this. I thought they'd lose game 7.
No, this is strange.
To Boston, and they lost 3 in a row. But I wasn't mad at their effort. At least they were in the games. The games weren't blowouts. Like, these are to get hockey blowouts in a Stanley Cup Finals 3 games in a row is a fucking joke. They were blown out all 3 games.
Well, especially from the team that was up 3-0. That's a big surprise. I mean, it's great though. I mean, look what we have here. It's a Monday night, late June. Your team is still alive. Could win its first championship in the team's franchise's history. Still in there with more than a legitimate shot. The odds on this game are pretty even, Steven. You have what is very precarious to say home ice advantage. You pretty much wow. You got to lay 110 with the Panthers, and you still have to lay a price if you want to bet the Oilers in this game. So yeah, I mean the bookies are going to make out pretty well no matter what. I don't know how. I have no feel for how the early portion of this game will go. Would you not think that the Panthers come out like a bunch of crazed maniacs in this one?
Yeah.
And they figure, hey, if we're going to lose, let's lose.
That's it.
With some dignity and some pride.
That's all I want from them. Look, I want the title. You're up 3-0. Look, like I told Brian before they beat the Rangers. Yes, it would be a little disappointing because to me, the Rangers were the best team in hockey other than the Panthers all year. You can get past them. You should win the Stanley Cup. But again, we were discounting McDavid and the Oilers got there too. So fine, you lose. It would be a little disappointing, but it would be okay. They got to back, fine. You go up 3-0, things change. You know, you go up 3-0, you should win that Stanley Cup.
Well, in the fashion they did it also. I mean, you would have to
dominating.
think, my God, they're dominating this team.
Yes. So to me, it's to then lose is disappointing, historical, all those things. But what makes it even tougher to swallow is the one thing this team did, the one thing we gave them credit, and it's why I believed in them, was no matter what was going on, they fought. They fought. They overcame whatever the fuck. Last year, they were dead to the world, and they found a way to win a game against the Golden Knights, even though they had nothing. Like, they fight. Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Reiner. Where are they? Like, where's Ekblad? Where's Roger? Where are all these guys at all playoffs put their fucking soul
Reinhardt.
ice? Like,
Bennett.
they're nowhere to be found. I forgot Bennett exists. And this guy was playing out of his mind. Forsling, like all these guys. It's why I didn't give a shit how talented the Oilers were. We were more talented, and we were. So what the fuck happened? Like that's my
Good question.
Confused.
All right, we'll have an answer tonight. The Panthers either end up being a part of a punchline for the rest of their franchise's history, or and become an answer to a trivia question 20 years from now. Or every thing ends up all's well that ends well, and they find a way to win this game. I'm thinking double OT would be kind of cool tonight, wouldn't it? Panthers find a way to win this thing in double overtime. All of this stuff, this negativity is erased from the last 3 games. They win the Stanley Cup, and that's it. And you never can take that away once you win that championship. So, and really, what leads me to the idea that they're going to win tonight is that everybody is of the belief that they can't do it, man. I was speaking with priests, with rabbis, with a collection of clergymen. Everybody said the same thing. No chance. So certainly there's a chance. Pucks, bounce in bizarre ways. I mean, it's stranger than even football in that regard. You have all kinds of different circumstances that could play out in this game. The momentum swing has been so humongous, but where we've seen that shift on an instant also. And I'm not sure I'm ready to throw in the towel on Paul Maurice. I think.
No, I think it's a good coach. I'm just all the questions that were there when he was hired, because he's gotten to a Stanley Cup before.
Yes.
His issue was he never won one. And we gave him shit because we thought he was laissez-faire, and we realized he's not. And he's a damn good coach. He's gotten to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. He's not going anywhere. But I'm just saying, you do have to I was questioning no one 3 games ago. To me, outside of Zito, because I don't think it's the roster's issue. I think Zito is still
and Barkov has stood out.
And Barkov has played what? But it's funny, the guy that was the only one that was questioned for fucking years, him and Huberto, the only one you're not questioning. He's given his heart and soul into these games.
Just playing real sound hockey, if you will, on both sides.
It's where's everyone else? I'm so confused. Like, where's everyone else? Like,
well, let's hope they find a way to figure this thing out in a hurry, Lubie. Because I would hate to see this happen. I really would. For Edmonton to win this thing is a disaster.
It would be annoying. It would just be annoying, like
a disaster. All right, we're going to come back with more here. Other things happening in the world of sports, but obviously this will be the focal point. I don't know what else. I mean, Scotty Scheffler won another golf tournament. Does anybody care about that anymore? It's amazing what this guy is doing. 6 tournaments this year the guy's won. Pretty incredible. And other tournaments, he's been a contender. I saw a telecast of a Live Tour event, Lubie, a Live Tour event. I'm flipping channels, and I ended up on the CW, which I didn't even know was on my roster of channels that I have on my television. And it was pretty colorful, I have to say. But at the same time, I'm looking at all these European has-beens that comprise the Live Tour. Now, they did snare any number of top players. And I'm looking at this thing and thinking, this is never going to really be big. They might have papered the house for this thing because they did have a decent crowd, or else they put everybody that was in the crowd on the same hole. Is that possible?
Yes.
Everybody, you got a seat at 18. I mean, what the fuck is going on with that? Meanwhile, the PGA Tour doesn't have anywhere near at this point the star power that some of the the top guys give the Live Tour, and I would have very little to no interest in. Tyrell Hatton ended up winning the thing. He was well ahead, and then you had the LPGA. Now is this one of their majors? The LPGA Championship? I would imagine that it is, right? I have very little knowledge of what goes on the LPGA Tour, except that, as we've always said, box the Koreans in exactas. And I think you would have won yesterday because Amy Yang, a Korean, won her first ever major. I think she's been around for a while. I loved her hat. She was wearing like a floppy hat, like she went to a Marlins game on floppy hat night. And even though she was falling apart at the end, she had such a big lead. It was too much for anybody else to overcome. And she ended up winning that tournament. So that was kind of interesting, the way that all shook out. And I watched a little WNBA action yesterday, Lubie. I'm in. Sarni has turned me into a WNBA fanatic here. And I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan now. Huge. But and she didn't get the shit beat out of her yesterday. What was it? At the Indiana Fever? What is the Chicago team's nickname?
Sky? Isn't it the Sky?
The Sky.
Fever in the Sky. I kept saying Fever in the Sky.
Did they play every game? I mean, did they just play each other? Is that the way the WNBA works? I mean, they played like 7 times already this year, and they've only played 10 games as a team. What the fuck is that? And the Fever blow a 15-point third quarter lead and end up losing that as your girl, Angel Reese, had a big game. This was after Jason Whitlock had condemned her as being the most unathletic person in all of sports, Angel Reese, implying that she was highly overrated and really didn't deserve any kind of accolades or any kind of credit whatsoever for being an excellent basketball player. And then, of course, right after that article comes out, the guy gets like 400,000 views on this thing, clicks. She goes out and scores 25 points and grabs 15 boards like she was the second coming of Will to Still. Incredible. So we shall. You would think that Caitlin Clark would just pull her eyelashes out, no? Angel Reese at some point, she's got to be sick of these comparisons. I'm watching in awe still to think that the U.S. Olympic team will not feature Caitlin Clark and that she couldn't even make the stinking 3-on-3.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? How many, do you send just one 3-on-3 team to compete for your country, or do you have like a backup team?
I have no idea. I would think you send more than one. I don't know.
How could you send more than one, though? You know what? So how many people make the 3-on-3 team? 5? How many people are on the roster for the 3-on-3? Would you think? Did they substitute at all in the 3-on-3? Not sure. How does that even work? What is it? What is an Olympic sport? 3-on-3 fucking basketball. Holy Ice T. What are we talking about here? Is that Ice T or Ice Cube that did that?
It was Ice Cube. Ice Cube.
That's the Cube. I kind of like him over Ice T. Because if Ice T is really going to tell you that he's insuring his Bentleys with car shields, I think there's a credibility element there that really just doesn't match up. It's almost going to be like watching Thursday's debate with Trumpster and Joe Biden. Joe Biden is looking really old and senile, though, is he not? They should not show any clips. If I'm the Republican Party, all I do is show Joe Biden walking.
Yeah.
Because he looks literally like he's in need of a wheelchair, doesn't he?
I don't see.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think both.
I think the Trumpster is going to win this thing too. I really do. That's my biggest fears are about to come to fruition.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Runaway Trump, unbelievable. Is it time then to go and consider the move to Cartagena? What do you think, Lubie? Are you leaving with me?
Yeah. I don't. I'm going to Colombia. It'd probably be somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I could afford it. I go to Positano. That would be the place to go. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
I don't think we really accomplished much there, Lubie, except that we're teetering on the balance of fear like never before. It's 8:49. Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
This comes from the great Defo Lama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
This will convince a lot of people if the Oilers come through that the time to jump on the bandwagon from a betting standpoint is when the deck looks to be completely stacked against you. As in, dive in. They always flash this stuff up there on the TV now, where Oilers are down 3-0 and they're down like in Game 4 by 2 goals, and that's the time to send it in on a team. Are you familiar, Lubie? You have the NBA draft coming up this week. I haven't heard too much talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know. What's funny is there's not one.
Do you know any of these guys that are like the top picks outside of the kid from Kentucky?
Reed Shepherd's the only one. Every other one, the one from
he's a lock to be the number 3 pick according to the odds makers.
UConn, the kid from UConn was fine, clean or wherever the fuck, but he wasn't.
It's European guys that are going to go 1-2. Guys I never heard of. Zachary Risacker, is that his name? Risacker? He's minus 225 to be the number 1 overall pick. Who is this guy? I have no idea. Do you?
No idea. No.
Have you heard anything about him? I mean, would we be better off drafting Martin Murasep as the number 1 pick? Who was only identified by artist renderings when the Heat took him in the first round. That was like number 25, though. I guess they traded with Utah after the fact, but Riley didn't give a shit about rookies back then, so it really was kind of a moot point, whoever they took at that stage of the draft. Zachary Risacker. And the number 2 guy, surprisingly, Now, this guy's plus 180. He's the number 2 guy in the odds to be the number 1 overall pick. Donovan Klingen. That's the Connecticut kid, right? Is that the big center from Connecticut?
Yes, the kid from
Yeah.
Connecticut who's fine, but he's not like scary. He's not-
Number 1 overall pick. Okay, so what's interesting is if he's not the number 1 pick, he's 13-1 to be the number 2 pick. How do you figure that? You're only getting plus 180 if he's the number 1 pick. And this other guy's minus 225, but you're getting 13-1. Who's drafting second? Is it that they don't need a big man? What would that be? The theory that's in play there. How could a guy go from being like a 2-1, under 2-1 to be the number 1 overall pick, but 13-1 if he wasn't picked number 1 to be the number 2 pick? You would think that would be a natural, right?
The Wizards don't need a big.
I don't know. They need everything.
I don't know who they have.
They need a new franchise. What are you talking about?
I don't know. This is a shitty draft. I mean, it's just people keep saying that over and over again. That I don't know any of the people, like none of them. Like, yes, recently the drafts haven't had the same meaning they used to, but there was still a few people you heard of, you saw them, you could have expectations for. Like, I watched the entire tournament and none of those players stood out to be NBA draft picks. And that's what you're seeing now is a bunch of Euros, a bunch of highly potential, but who knows? Like the Klingen kid's fine, but he's not a top 5. Like in any other draft, I don't know where he'd be drafted. He was okay.
Look at how the world has changed, though, Lubie. Now you have odds on draft position over unders. So and it goes like this: Reed Shepard over under 3.5. So he has to go in the first 3 picks for the under players, of course. Stephen Castle is over under 5 and a hook. Mattis Bazulis or something like that is like 5 and a hook. I never heard of most of these guys that are on the list to be drafted in the first round. So that'll be kind of interesting, though, the way that shakes out. That's coming up later on this week. Yeah, you have a lot of interesting odds on tonight's hockey game. The Panthers, you have to at minus 1.5 goals to win by 2 goals or more, are plus 220. And the Oilers getting 1.5 goals are minus 275. So they're anticipating once again a close game. Over under total is 5 and a hook once again. The last 4 games have all gone over, including just a diabolical beat for the under players as 2 empty netters came in a span of about 28 seconds and did them in game number 6. And then you're getting pretty good odds on who's going to get the first goal. I don't know. Don't the Panthers score first, and then Edmonton falls apart a little bit, and then they get another goal? Bobrovsky looks brilliant in this game, and everybody forgets about the last 3. Come on, Lubie.
I would have felt that way 3 games ago. I felt that going into game 6. Remember game 6?
I thought they were going to win game 6. I really did.
I was confident. Well, you had a weird feeling about game 7. Our friend Brian said the same thing. I was like, no, I really think they can win game 6. I mean, I think they will. Like, I think these last 2 games will have woken them up.
Turning around. I thought they might do it there.
But they didn't. And they never raised the gallop. So I really am at a loss. Like, I see them losing 4-2 tonight or 5.
How great is this, though, that we even have this on the horizon?
Yeah, see, I'd rather.
I mean, a Monday night would have been a boring one, right? You're thinking, geez, do I watch a Marlins game, even though they won 3 out of 4 from the Mariners? Are the Mariners slumping? They weren't that bad in their last 10, the Mariners. I know our handicapper, Troy West, that we feature on another show we have, also part of that morning briefing on Caffeine TV, has been, and he's from Seattle, and he told us that the Mariners were experiencing some kind of a downward trend that he spotted, and he was right, as they lost a couple in a row to the Guardians, and then came back now and dropped 3 out of 4, didn't they, to the Marlins? Was that a 4-game series? I think the only game the Mariners won, George Kirby, one of their starters, is a local product, is he not? George Kirby. He's the nephew of a guy that I know who is always posting stuff about him on social media, but I think he's from South Florida, is he not, George Kirby?
Maybe. It was a 3-game series, and the Panthers took 2 of 3.
Oh, you mean the Marlins took 2 of 3?
The Marlins, the Panthers.
Okay.
It was a 3-game series. The Marlins took 2 of 3. The one game the Mariners won was 9-0.
Right. And that was with Kirby pitching. I think he allowed like 2 hits over 6 innings or something like that.
I mean, all 5 of the Marlins starters are hurt. So
yeah,
literally every single starter's hurt. So I mean, it is what it is.
What an insane thing! And all of a sudden they're winning games. I don't know if it's enough to threaten us on the over/under. I can't imagine that, Lubie. I think that's very much safe. So Wow, I mean, a very interesting time in sport. You have the Olympics. When do the Olympics actually start? I'm watching. I'm a big track and field fan, so I still enjoy watching track and field. They had men's track and field, a little bit of action last night. The women, I guess, were also on the track as they were running some of my favorite events. I love the 100, the 220, or I guess it's 200 meters, the 400, all in that. I'm a big fan of the mile run. Marathon, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole different story. But and we haven't had. When was the last time? What was it? Frank Shorter was the last great American distance runner.
Oh, good.
Frank Shorter. Did we go all the way back to Frank Shorter before we had a guy who could win a marathon? We're not winning any marathons, but in the sprints, we're dynamite, Lubie, dynamite. And I didn't see any hurdle events. But I'm looking forward to it. When does that get underway, the actual Olympics?
Mid to end July.
Oh, really? It's that far off? Okay.
Yeah, because it goes through mid-end July until like middle of August.
All right. So we're going to have to turn our attention after tonight pretty much to Major League Baseball. No, we have Wimbledon also coming up, and that should be interesting. Jessica Pegula, an American, won a tournament. And the guy that's coming on in the American tennis circles, or in American tennis circles, is Tommy Paul. Watch out for Tommy Paul. He's playing real well all season long, and he's eclipsed Taylor Fritz, who had made some inroads into convincing you that he could be a top player. He was in the top 10, but he's eclipsed Taylor Fritz as the highest-ranked American now. And there are a couple of other guys that are worthy of watching, but I don't know about at Wimbledon whether any of these guys are going to prevail. But Tommy Paul won a grass prelim. I think one of the more, did he win the Queen's Cup or something? One of the more prestigious ones? Because there were tournaments going on all over the place. And Yannick Sinner, again, emerges as probably, I mean, it's sort of unromantic to put your money on a favorite, but playing some real solid tennis. And look like he will go into, as the number one player in the world, obviously the favorite to win Wimbledon, and in there with an excellent shot. Joker may or may not play Wimbledon. I don't know that it matters, though, because the guy just had knee surgery a couple of days ago. What is he, playing in the NHL?
I presume he's not playing.
Says he's going to show up and try and give it a go. So that's pretty cool. Novak Djokovic, you can't discount him, although he does seem rather beatable this year for some reason, not having the best of seasons. And the end is near, and that's for sure. All right, Lubie, final prediction on the game tonight. Panthers, Edmonton Oilers. You're saying Oilers 4-2. Wow, that hurts.
4-2.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts, Lubie.
If they were going to do it,
break out Marino. Break them out tonight.
You bring out Riley.
Marino. Never mind Pat Riley. I love Pat Riley.
You bring out Riley.
Riley's not coming out there to bang the drum, is he? I mean, if Riley came out there to bang the drum, everybody that was there would have to say, my God, fucking Pat Riley's involved.
That's my thing. They've been a fucking joke for 3 games, right?
One of those sharp suits that he wears.
Riley has no interest in doing this. Riley doesn't want to do this. If you can convince Pat Riley to come and fucking do this today,
imagine it.
People will go, oh, fuck.
Doesn't Riley have to do this for the community?
I think there's something about Riley where he's become what Shula was for so long for this.
Yes. I wouldn't even stop at excavating or exhuming the body of Don Shula.
Shula would have been the guy, but God rest his soul.
He couldn't hit the drums any less prominently than Nicholas did.
Look, to me, if you can convince Riley to do it, it shows how fucking look.
This is what it boils down to, though, like some form of voodoo. Yeah.
The thing is, they haven't been serious. The last 3 games, they've been unserious. So that's what, to me, it's like a sign of you finally fucking get it, and you went for the gold. You got fucking Riley. Okay, I think it will be a sign to everyone. Like, all right, finally, the Panthers are here. They haven't been here for 3 fucking games. They're finally here. I don't know. It'll probably be Wade or Marino.
Is there a Panther? Can you break out Luongo? He's going to be there anyway.
No.
Is that strong enough? No. Roberto Luongo beating the drum?
I'm not.
Brian Scrudlin. That's who they should get. Is Scrudlin still alive? Screwy?
I think he's alive. Yes. I don't know.
Mellenby? Why not Mellenby? and have him fire a rat onto the ice right after that. No?
I don't think any of these do.
Come on, Louie. We have to do something. We have to get inspired. I can't believe how flat this town is dead. Nobody's talking about this shit, and everybody's walking around in fear. I can't believe what a bunch of just lightweight, lack of mental toughness area of fans that we have here. Incredible that everybody's thrown in the towel, including you. but maybe for good reason. Well, we shall see. I think it's just a straight up toss up tonight. I'm hoping that somehow the Panthers recapture their mojo and that this. I don't know what transpired in the last 3 games that had this forecheck that was working so great go into a strategy, evolve into a strategy that was absolutely harmful. Where I mean, did Edmonton just figure something out, or did they stop executing this? What
I'm
the
not
hell
saying
happened?
the Oilers haven't switched things up where they're bringing more action on their end, maybe, but again,
Panthers had 2 shots through like the first period and change in that game.
they adjust. You're supposed to adjust back. They can adjust all they want. You're supposed to adjust back.
Yeah.
They haven't. The Oilers adjusted, and the Panthers have done nothing since.
All right. Well, there are advantages, right, to the home ice. I guess in hockey, you have that quirky thing where on changes, you get to put your line out there after you already see who's out there for the other team. So we'll see if Paul Maurice can recapture that genius. We were ready to anoint this guy as one of the great coaches of all time in the history of South Florida sports. Now you want him fired. Unbelievable, Lubie.
You're not firing the guy. I think he's done a fine job. The questions that were there when he was hired, I understand now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a guy
with a long career that also, even though he has a lot of wins, is the losingest coach in hockey history. I don't like to bring up all this negativity, though, before tonight's game, Lubie. Come on. Let's hope that it just turns around. We don't have to talk about this anymore. We'll be celebrating tomorrow a Stanley Cup, which
will make me very happy.
I would have to think I'd be lucky to see one here in my lifetime. And if they lose tonight, then I know that will never happen.
Well, that's the thing. To overcome this, I don't know how you do that. Like I could see them going into the tank next year. I like something like this is the kind of thing that's really hard to overcome.
Well, and difficult to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. No matter what, I mean, no matter how well comprised their team is next year, but we can't worry about that. Well, we have one game tonight. Where are you going to take it in? Home, Lubie? You're going to be on the couch there watching this thing? We'll surely allow you to watch Game 7 on the regular television set. What's going on with that?
I don't know. Let me watch it however I want.
Don't tell me you're going to have to watch this on your phone.
The last 3 have been tough. Because they were winning, so I was choosing to watch it on my phone as some weird superstitious bullshit because they were winning all the games that I was watching on my phone. So I was like literally the last 3 games trying to watch it on my phone. That didn't change. I don't know.
I can't watch hockey on my phone. I'm sorry, man.
Well, no, to watch anything on your phone sucks. But it just happened to happen.
A horse race, maybe.
And then I don't know. I don't know what. I really don't know what tonight's going to be.
Lubie, final Edmonton 4, Panthers 2. Me, I say we're looking at 3-2 in overtime. Panthers win. Carter Verhaeghe with the goal.
There you go.
Comes back from the dead.
Yeah,
otherwise, man, we should just eat a puck for breakfast tomorrow.
Well, the problem, the positive about that is that means they would have played tough. Like that's, at least if you're going to lose, go down fighting.
Yes.
Like the way they've lost.
I think they'll put up a fight tonight. I do. I don't think this is going to be some Edmonton runaway. We'll see. Maybe Bobrovsky gives up a bunch of silly goals. It's going to be great, though. The wild anticipation about this and what's at stake in terms of not just the championship, but the legacy, the history of the franchise is overwhelming. So a little must-see TV tonight. Panthers, Oilers, Game 7. Good luck to us. The people on the chat line seem a little bit more comfortable than you do that the Panthers can come back, Lubie. So we'll see if they can do that. But, wow, what a joke to be only the second team in history to lose a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Final. And the last time it happened was 1942. Unbelievable. All right, we have to run, and we will see you guys tomorrow at this very same time, right around 8 o'clock in the morning. And, of course, you can catch our other action, the morning briefing on Caffeine TV. Just say Caffeine TV morning briefing. You'll see a bunch of episodes. I don't know what happened in the last one, Lubie. I don't think they actually put it up anywhere because we went from thousands of views to like 118.
Yeah, their numbers are weird sometimes. Like
very strange.
Thousands for weeks and then 60. I don't know how any of their shit works.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Lubie. Excellent morning. We're kind of meandering all over the place a little bit because we don't know what to think anymore.
I'm just lost.
And we're afraid to face the obvious.
I'm just lost.
Trump wins the presidency and the Panthers lose the cup to Edmonton. My God, what a parlay that would be. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
I'll admit to being a little bit afraid too there, Libby. It's 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my